every once in a while, and I'm not sure how often I plan on doing this, but every once in a while, I'm going to bring up all of the YouTube comments that we get and make a video of just my replies to those comments. So I'm going to start with comments from members. I'll go through a few of those from the last couple of weeks, and then we'll take a look at comments from non-members depending on how long it takes. Let's go ahead and get started. JB says, it looks fun and hectic. Definitely would have done multiplayer. He's talking about Risk of Rain 2. That game is wonderful. That game is incredibly fun. I've gotten, I don't know, 3 or 4 good long runs in that game so far, and I'm having an absolute blast. Lloyd and I talked about it on the most recent episode of the podcast, a whole bunch, so make sure that you check that out if you haven't already. I have played multiplayer just once. I really feel like single player is more my jam because I can pause the game and get up and walk away and stuff like that. But Risk of Rain 2 is really, really fun game, and I think it's only $20 on Stadia, so I can highly recommend it. Obi-Wan Cannoli sent in a question. He says, "Hey guys, I've always been a fan of the channel and finally subscribed. I too missed the live show, but was happy to watch it after the fact, as I usually do on Sundays. I wanted to pose a major selling point that Google could implement easily, but has surrounded it with such secrecy and speculation that it's more of a gripe for most people these days." I remember this comment. It's a very, very long comment. I'm not going to read the whole thing on camera. So what I will do is just kind of give it a quick scan to refresh my memory, and then I'll kind of summarize what Obi-Wan Kenobi had said here. All right. So what Obi-Wan Kenobi, which by the way, hilarious game. What they're basically saying is that they want family plan to be shared in a way where if I buy a game and other members of my family are subscribed to Pro, then we can all play the game together at the same time. And I think that would probably work really, really well when you're talking about first-party games from Stadia Games and Entertainment. You know, the stuff that Jade Raymond is working on right now. I don't think that it would work nearly as well, or I don't think it's nearly as feasible when you're talking about third-party titles, because those publishers, they don't get a cut of the Stadia Pro membership unless they're getting a cut from it being a pro game. And then if it's a pro game, that kind of goes away. Like that takes care of what you're saying anyway. So while I think it's a cool idea, and I think it would work definitely for something like the first-party Stadia games, I don't think that that's something that can happen because publishers need to be paid for their work. Anyway, thank you very much for the very long and well thought out comment. I appreciate it. Tom Leary says, "I'm also not a fan of Luna." He's replying to Lloyd and I, episode 77, discussing Luna, which is Amazon's entry into cloud gaming. He says, "It's essentially xCloud. You get the games that are available for the time that they make them available. It is the Netflix of gaming, but I prefer buying and keeping games. That my games may come and go on the whim of a publisher or provider does not appeal." I'm assuming he means does not appeal to me. And I agree with you, Tom. I do think that Xbox Game Pass, which comes with xCloud, is absolutely a wonderful deal. Like, it's really, really good, you know, as far as gaming hours for your dollar. But I don't like the pressure of saying, all right, well, this game is available for this month, and if you don't finish it this month, then you're out of luck. That part I don't really like. I very much prefer the Stadia Pro model. Well, actually, the Stadia model where I just buy a game if I want it and I can play it. And then there's the Stadia Pro model on top of that, where if I'm subscribed at the time when game X becomes a Stadia game, or I'm sorry, a Pro game, then it's in my library as long as I'm subscribed. It doesn't disappear from my library in December, and if I haven't gotten to it by then I'm beat. So, Tom, I agree with you. continuing on the Amazon Luna thing, there was a clip from one of my live streams where I was talking about this, and Consino says, I see this as a good thing. Between Microsoft and Amazon, we need competition to light a fire under Stadia's rear end. I'm going to edit there. And to Bill's point, as we all know, are the features that Stadia has promised but not delivered. We don't know what's in the oven or why Stadia is quiet instead of transparent with the community. My guess is it's for strategic reasons. I think this fall will be a window into the future of Stadia because we will finally be at the 1-year mark. Even though for founders and early adopters, we feel like Stadia has been around for a while, it really hasn't. That's a really good point there. I think that the Windows servers on Amazon or AWS, which I forget what it stands for, is a really interesting choice. I'm curious how performance will stack up against Stadia and what is Google's response and why they chose the Linux route. Surely it was not just for licensing reasons, as Amazon's choice seems genius from a game library standpoint. I do agree that Luna is probably likely to get games faster than Stadia, if for no other reason than porting to, they don't have to actually port. They're running games that they've already made for Windows anyway. So that's going to make it easier, but it's going to make it easier now. Fast forward in a couple of years when people have gotten a lot more experience with Linux, porting games to Linux and using Vulkan, which, by the way, is supposed to be far more efficient than Direct3D. At least that's what I've read, and I am not an expert on this. Feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Maybe you'll be in a future video. But my understanding is that Vulkan is much more efficient than Direct3D, and because of that, that's probably the reason why Google chose to go that way. I do think that the competition is good and it will push Google to go in the right direction. However, I don't think that they're going to put out features suddenly out of nowhere just because of this sudden competition. I think what really is happening here is COVID-19 slowed everything down. Things that they expected to happen didn't happen as fast as they wanted. And because of that, it looks like from the outside that everything's ground to a halt. But, we'll find out down the road. Peter Blake says, am I not supposed to be here? That's in response to a live clip, which you should check out, where I accidentally broke Serious Sam 4. Travis McGuire says, I love StadiaCast. I was watching random StadiaCast videos, and this one came up. Thank you guys so much. Best Stadia community on the internet. Oh, it's this video of Lloyd and I playing Spitlings together. That game is really, really good. If you have not played Spitlings, I believe it's a Stadia Pro game, and I'll probably say yes or no in post somewhere like right there. Spitlings is really, really cool. If you haven't checked it out, you should. You play as these weird little cube things, and you spit your teeth out to hit these weird things that are hanging on the sides, and you got to blow stuff up and clear the screen off. It's a really, really cool game. I like it a lot. Jim Bogan says, is this game cross-platform? Could I play against my friends who are on Steam? And of course, GHOXMR replied, it is not, and that is true. It is not. Risk of Rain is unfortunately not a cross-platform game. I do wish that we had all games as cross-platform, but you also have to remember that Risk of Rain 2 is an older game. I believe it came out in 2018. I could be wrong about that year, but it's an older game that was recently ported to Stadia. And older games were made when Sony was kind of getting in everybody's way when it came to doing cross-platform multiplayer. So right now, I think that most games that are going to come out in the next year to year and a half and probably will be hit or miss on cross-platform multiplayer. But you go fast forward a couple years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, I think almost everything, almost everything is going to be cross-platform. And that's just because it's better for the consumer. And Sony kind of got they were told, don't get in the consumer's way. Even if Sony says it's to protect us from the awful people who are on other platforms, which is basically what they said. All right. So the last question that I'm going to do today is right here. Let's go. Right there. Grant Fuller says, have you thought about playing with the community? They were talking about Uno multiplayer. I'm not opposed to playing Uno with the community. That's absolutely something that I would love to do. However, I don't think I would stream it because everybody could see my cards, and that would kind of take away the fun. So if you want to join the community, you absolutely should. There's a link to the Discord right down below, and there's an LFG channel, and maybe we can all hang out and play Uno together. Just yesterday, it was yesterday, it was myself and a couple other people from the community, and we all got together and we played Dead by Daylight together, and we lost every single time except for once when whoever the killer was, they'd killed all of us except for one person, and then they quit. So I don't know if they had bad internet or something, but we had fun, and we were all on our on Discord on voice, and we were having an absolute blast. So right down below, join the community, and hopefully I'll see you there, and maybe we'll play some Uno together. That game is really fun. It's a really good game, and they did a good job with it, and it's also really cheap. So this has been our first, whatever I want to call it. I'm not sure what we're going to call this yet. I haven't edited it. And you know what? Whatever it said on the thumbnail, that's what I'm going to call it. And eventually we'll do more of these. And, maybe sometimes I'll do them. Maybe sometimes Lloyd will do them. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to hit all of those buttons before you go, because it really does help. Actually, before I go, somebody asked me the other day, they said, Bill, do you really need to remind people to click on the YouTube buttons? And my answer is, there's a lot of times where I'm watching a YouTube video and I'm enjoying the video, and I'm just not really thinking. I'm thinking about my own thing. I'm thinking about whatever's going on with me. I'm not thinking about whatever's going on with the person who I'm watching. And then they say, don't forget to click the like button if you like the video. And I'm like, oh yeah, I am liking this video. Sure, I'll click the button. So yeah, saying it definitely helps. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.